Have you ever stopped to consider how your everyday morning routine, seemingly harmless and ingrained, might be quietly impacting the very organ that defines who you are, your brain? So many of us wake up, go through the motions, feeling like we're starting our day on the right foot. Yet we see others who seem to maintain remarkable cognitive clarity and vitality well into their later years. Consider Margaret, a vibrant 82-year-old who starts her day with a quiet cup of herbal tea, practices a few minutes of gentle stretching, and then dives into her morning crossword puzzle. Her mind is sharp, her memory agile, and she engages in lively conversations with ease. Then there's her neighbor, Arthur, also 82, who, despite his best intentions, finds himself increasingly forgetful, struggling with focus, and feeling a pervasive mental fogginess that makes even simple tasks a challenge. He attributes it to just getting older, and the stark difference between him and Margaret is a mystery he can't quite grasp. The truth is, the gap between maintaining robust brain health and experiencing cognitive decline often comes down to seemingly minor, often overlooked, daily habits that subtly shape our neurological landscape. In this article, we are going to unveil a common morning habit that, unbeknownst to many, is silently damaging senior brains. And more importantly, we will reveal the simple, actionable steps you can take to protect and even enhance your cognitive function. By the end, you won't just know what to avoid. You'll discover the profound impact of mindful mornings on your brain's long-term health and vitality. As someone deeply invested in understanding the intricacies of healthy aging and the factors that contribute to cognitive well-being, I can tell you that the stories of Margaret and Arthur are ones I've encountered countless times. It's not about grand gestures or radical lifestyle overhauls. It's about the subtle, consistent choices we make, particularly during those crucial morning hours, that accumulate over time to either bolster or erode our cognitive reserves. The insights I'm about to share are drawn from extensive research and observations of how daily routines influence neurological health. If you find this information valuable, please let me know by commenting number 1. If not, comment number 0 so I can provide better content for you. Now let's delve into the core of what it means to truly nurture your brain as you age. The common morning habit that is silently damaging senior brains is, surprisingly, the immediate and overwhelming engagement with digital screens and the constant influx of negative, high-stress information right upon waking. Think about it. For many, the first action after opening their eyes is to grab their smartphone, tablet, or turn on the television. This immediate dive into emails, social media feeds, news headlines, often sensationalized and alarming, or even just endless scrolling, creates a profound physiological and psychological shock to the brain that can have cumulative detrimental effects. Your brain, having just emerged from a restorative sleep state, is in its most receptive and vulnerable condition. Bombarding it with a torrent of information, much of it potentially stressful, negative, or cognitively demanding, immediately triggers the sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight response. This elevates cortisol levels, the body's primary stress hormone, which, over time, is known to impair memory, attention, and executive function, and even contribute to the atrophy of brain regions vital for learning and emotional regulation, such as the hippocampus. Consider the stark contrast between two individuals, both in their late 70s. Sarah, upon waking, reaches for her phone. Within minutes, she's scrolling through news articles about global crises, checking social media posts that trigger envy or anxiety, and feeling the pressure of emails accumulating in her inbox. Her heart rate elevates, her breath becomes shallower, and her mind races even before her feet hit the floor. This immediate state of alert and stress carries through her entire morning, making it harder for her to focus on tasks, to recall details, and to feel calm throughout the day. She might experience increased irritability and a pervasive sense of being overwhelmed. Her brain is constantly operating in a state of low-grade emergency, which exhausts its resources and diminishes its capacity for higher-level thinking and emotional regulation. Over months and years, this consistent morning cortisol surge can contribute to inflammation in the brain, accelerate cellular aging, and even reduce the brain's neuroplasticity, its ability to form new connections and adapt. Now imagine David, who also wakes up at a similar time. Instead of grabbing his phone, he takes a few deep breaths, stretches slowly in bed, and then makes his way to the kitchen to prepare a simple breakfast. He might listen to some calming music, or simply enjoy the quiet before the day truly begins. His brain is allowed to transition gently from sleep to wakefulness. His cortisol levels remain balanced, and his prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making and planning, is given the space to activate gradually and effectively. He feels more centered, more in control, and better equipped to handle the day's challenges. The actionable advice here is profound in its simplicity. Delay your digital engagement. Aim for at least the first 30 minutes, ideally an hour, upon waking to be screen-free. Use this time for gentle movement, mindful breathing, hydration, or quiet contemplation. Allow your brain to wake up naturally, without the immediate external pressures of the digital world. This seemingly small shift can profoundly impact your brain's baseline stress levels, preserve cognitive energy, and foster a more balanced neurological state. Believe it or not, the content we consume immediately after waking, particularly its emotional tone and complexity, profoundly influences our brain's emotional regulation and cognitive flexibility for the rest of the day. Our brains are incredibly impressionable, especially in the liminal state between sleep and full wakefulness. When the first information we receive is overwhelmingly negative, sensationalized, or emotionally charged, it sets a powerful precedent for our mood and mental state. This immediate emotional jolt can prime the amygdala, the brain's alarm center, making us more susceptible to anxiety, worry, and a pessimistic outlook throughout the day. It also floods our cognitive bandwidth with information that may not be immediately relevant or helpful, diverting precious mental resources from tasks that require focused attention and creative problem solving. Consider Emily, a 72-year-old who every morning makes her coffee and sits down to watch the morning news, which is often filled with reports of crime, political turmoil, and various disasters. She feels a knot forming in her stomach, a sense of dread that pervades her morning. This constant exposure to negative stimuli, especially as the first input of her day, makes her more prone to rumination, higher levels of generalized anxiety, and a feeling of powerlessness. Her brain is being trained to anticipate threats, making it harder for her to find joy in simple things or to engage in positive social interactions. Her cognitive resources are constantly being spent on processing potential dangers, leaving less capacity for learning new things or engaging in complex thought. In contrast, imagine Robert, who chooses to listen to an uplifting podcast or a calming classical music station while he prepares his breakfast. He might read a chapter of an inspiring book or simply look out the window and observe nature. His morning is not dictated by external anxieties but by internal peace and a sense of gentle awakening. This deliberate choice of positive or neutral input allows his brain to settle into a state of calm alertness. His prefrontal cortex, responsible for executive functions like planning and decision-making, is primed for optimal performance, unburdened by an immediate surge of stress hormones. The actionable advice here is to be incredibly discerning about your first information intake of the day. Opt for content that is calming, inspiring, educational, or simply neutral. This could be listening to gentle music, reading a physical book, not on a screen, engaging in a light hobby, or even just quiet reflection. By nurturing your brain with positive or neutral input, you are essentially setting a benevolent tone for your entire day, fostering a state of mind that supports cognitive resilience and emotional well-being. If you are still reading and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know you are on this journey with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Just as the content we consume matters, so too does the light exposure we receive in the morning, and the pervasive blue light from digital screens is a significant concern. Our circadian rhythm, the body's natural sleep-wake cycle, is profoundly influenced by light. Natural light, particularly bright morning light, signals to our brain that it's daytime, helping to regulate melatonin production, the sleep hormone, and optimize our internal clock. Conversely, the blue light emitted by smartphones, tablets, and computers, especially when viewed up close in a dark or dimly lit room, can disrupt this delicate balance. This is because blue light suppresses melatonin production, even in the morning, signaling to the brain that it's still nighttime, which can throw off your natural rhythm, making it harder to feel alert during the day and harder to fall asleep at night. This chronic disruption of circadian rhythms has been linked to increased risks of cognitive impairment, mood disorders, and even neurodegenerative diseases over the long term. Consider Mrs. Davies, 75, who has developed a habit of checking her tablet for news and emails while still in bed, often with the room mostly dark. the blue light from her screen directly impacting her eyes at a time when her body expects natural light, confuses her internal clock. She finds herself feeling sluggish and tired throughout the day, despite getting seemingly enough sleep. Her sleep quality is also often poor, characterized by frequent awakenings, because her melatonin production is suppressed at the wrong times. This chronic misalignment of her body's natural rhythm with her external environment puts significant stress on her brain, affecting her memory, attention span, and overall cognitive energy. She might experience more brain fog and difficulty concentrating. Now, picture Mr. Jenkins, 78, who makes it a point to open his curtains and expose himself to natural light as soon as he wakes up. He might even step outside for a few minutes, weather permitting. This natural light exposure helps to reset his circadian clock, signaling to his brain that it's time to be awake and alert. His melatonin levels drop appropriately, and his body naturally produces cortisol at healthy, invigorating levels for morning wakefulness. He feels more energized, his sleep quality improves, and his cognitive function remains sharper. The actionable advice here is to prioritize natural light exposure in your morning routine. As soon as you wake up, open your curtains, sit by a window, or if possible, step outside for at least 10-15 minutes. Minimize your exposure to blue light from screens, especially in the first hour of waking, and certainly avoid using screens in bed before you've even fully risen. This simple adjustment supports your natural circadian rhythm, which is fundamental for optimal brain health, sleep quality, and overall cognitive performance. Moving from the external stimuli to an internal state, the immediate cognitive load imposed by digital morning habits is another critical factor. When we jump directly into complex problem-solving, decision-making, like responding to emails or managing finances online, or navigating intricate digital interfaces right after waking, we are asking our brains to perform high-level functions before they are fully warmed up. This is akin to demanding a car to go from 0 to 100 miles per hour the moment you turn the key, without allowing the engine to warm up. The prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for executive functions such as planning, working memory, and inhibition, needs time to gradually activate and reach optimal performance. Overloading it prematurely can lead to mental fatigue, decreased efficiency, and a heightened sense of cognitive burden throughout the day. It can also reduce our capacity for deep, focused work later on. Consider John, 70, a retired professional who, out of habit, immediately checks his investment portfolio, reads detailed financial news, and responds to complex emails from various organizations within minutes of waking up. He feels a sense of urgency and obligation to tackle these important tasks first thing. However, he often finds himself making mistakes, feeling overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information, and then carrying that mental exhaustion into his other activities. He might struggle to recall details from his morning readings later in the day, or feel a pervasive sense of mental fogginess. His brain is expending a significant amount of energy on high-stakes cognitive tasks before it's optimally prepared, leading to reduced efficiency and increased mental strain. Now imagine Helen, 73, who intentionally structures her morning with a gradual ramp-up of cognitive activity. She might start with light reading, perhaps a novel, move to a simple crossword puzzle, and only later in the morning, after she's had breakfast and a chance to move around, does she engage with more complex tasks, like managing correspondence or financial planning. Her brain is given the opportunity to gradually activate, moving from lower-level processing to higher-level executive functions. She feels more alert, more capable of focused thought, and makes fewer errors. The actionable advice here is to delay cognitively demanding tasks. Use your early morning hours for activities that are less strenuous on your prefrontal cortex. This could include light reading, gentle stretching, mindful meditation, or simply enjoying a quiet breakfast. Allow your brain to transition smoothly into the day, preserving its cognitive energy for when it is truly needed. This strategic approach to morning cognitive load can enhance your overall mental performance and reduce brain fatigue throughout the day. If you are still reading and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 5 below to let me know you are on this journey with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Your internal resilience, particularly your ability to manage stress, is directly influenced by how you begin your day, and the immediate digital deluge often undermines this resilience. Chronic stress, as we've touched upon, is a significant threat to brain health. It leads to elevated cortisol levels, inflammation, and can even shrink the hippocampus, a brain region crucial for memory and learning. When our mornings are characterized by an immediate dive into digital stress, whether it's worrying news, demanding emails, or social media comparisons, we effectively train our brains to operate in a heightened state of anxiety. This erodes our natural stress coping mechanisms, making us more reactive to challenges throughout the day and diminishing our overall emotional and cognitive resilience. Take Mr. Peterson, 79, who has always considered himself a resilient person. However, his habit of immediately checking market updates and news about global events every morning has slowly but surely chipped away at his composure. He finds himself starting the day with a knot in his stomach, a feeling of anxiety that makes it harder to enjoy his breakfast or engage positively with his spouse. This constant state of low-level alarm makes him more prone to irritability, less patient, and more likely to experience feelings of being overwhelmed. His brain is continuously flooded with stress signals, which hinders its ability to recover and adapt, increasing his vulnerability to cognitive decline over time. In stark contrast, consider Mrs. Chen, 76, who dedicates her first morning moments to practices that cultivate calm and presence. She might engage in a few minutes of meditation, practice gentle breathing exercises, or simply sit with a cup of tea and listen to the birds outside. This intentional cultivation of peace in her initial waking moments sets a tranquil tone for her entire day. Her brain is not immediately thrust into a stress response. Instead, it is encouraged to enter a state of calm alertness. This regular practice of mindfulness helps to strengthen her prefrontal cortex's ability to regulate the amygdala, making her less reactive to stressors throughout the day. She handles challenges with greater equanimity and maintains a more positive outlook, which profoundly benefits her brain health. The actionable advice here is to cultivate mindful morning habits that promote a sense of calm and control. This could include meditation, journaling, gratitude practices, or simply savoring a quiet moment. By intentionally choosing calm over chaos, you empower your brain to build greater resilience against stress, fostering a more positive and healthy neurological environment. Beyond managing stress, staying mentally sharp is a cornerstone of a long and vibrant life, and your morning routine can either foster or hinder this cognitive agility. The brain thrives on novelty, challenge, and focused engagement. When our first act of the day is a passive consumption of digital content, particularly if it's repetitive or requires minimal active thought, like endless scrolling, we miss a crucial opportunity to engage our minds in a way that truly stimulates cognitive function. This passive intake can lead to a kind of mental laziness, where the brain is not actively challenged to process, analyze, or create. Over time, this lack of active morning engagement can contribute to a decline in mental agility, problem-solving skills, and even memory recall, as the brain is not consistently being exercised in ways that promote neuroplasticity. Consider Arthur, 72, who spends his first hour every morning passively scrolling through social media feeds, consuming short, often disjointed pieces of information that require little critical thinking or sustained attention. He's not engaging in deep reading, solving puzzles, or learning anything new. While it feels relaxing, his brain is largely operating on autopilot, taking in information without truly processing or analyzing it. He finds himself feeling mentally sluggish throughout the day, struggling with focus, and feeling like his memory isn't as sharp as it used to be. His brain is not being actively stimulated in ways that promote growth and resilience, slowly eroding his cognitive fitness. Now, imagine Maria, 75, who dedicates her early morning to activities that actively engage her mind. She might spend 20 minutes learning a few phrases in a new language, working on a challenging jigsaw puzzle, or reading a nonfiction book that requires her to think critically. Her brain is actively working, forming new connections, and strengthening existing neural pathways. She feels a sense of accomplishment and mental clarity that carries through her day. Her cognitive functions, such as memory, attention, and problem solving, remain robust because she is consistently exercising them. The actionable advice here is to intentionally incorporate activities into your morning that actively challenge your brain. This could involve learning something new, solving a puzzle, engaging in creative writing, or reading a complex book. By making your morning an active mental workout rather than a passive digital intake, You are actively fostering cognitive agility and building long-term RAM resilience. Finally, the quality of your morning connection with yourself and your immediate environment is profoundly impacted by the immediate digital immersion, and this connection is vital for emotional well-being and brain health. Human beings are designed to be present and to connect with their immediate surroundings and internal states. When our mornings begin with an external focus on screens, emails, news, social media, we are immediately pulled away from self-awareness, from the sensations of our bodies, and from the quiet beauty of our immediate environment. This disconnect can lead to feelings of overwhelm, anxiety, and a sense of being constantly on, which prevents the brain from entering a restful yet alert state. It also diminishes our capacity for gratitude and appreciation, which are powerful positive emotions linked to improved mood and cognitive function. Consider Ms. Lee, 70, who upon waking feels an immediate compulsion to check her phone. She misses the sunrise, the sounds of birds outside her window, or the simple warmth of her morning coffee. Her mind is immediately racing with external demands and comparisons. She rarely takes a moment to simply be present, to feel her breath, or to appreciate the quiet start of a new day. This constant external focus leaves her feeling fragmented, less connected to herself, and more susceptible to anxiety and feelings of dissatisfaction. Her brain is perpetually stimulated by external cues, never given a chance to settle into a state of mindful presence, which is crucial for emotional regulation and cognitive clarity. In contrast, imagine Mr. Goldberg, 80, who consciously chooses to begin his day with practices that cultivate presence and internal connection. He might spend a few moments listening to the quiet, noticing the sensations of his body as he stretches, or simply sitting by the window and observing the world awakening outside. He might practice a few minutes of gratitude, silently acknowledging the simple blessings in his life. This intentional grounding in his immediate experience allows his brain to settle, to integrate, and to find a sense of inner calm. He feels more centered, more content, and more attuned to his own needs and the beauty around him. This practice of presence fosters emotional balance and reduces the mental noise that often accompanies constant digital engagement. The actionable advice here is to reclaim your mornings for self-connection and mindful presence. Dedicate time to simply being, without external digital input. This could involve mindful breathing, journaling about your thoughts and feelings, or simply enjoying a quiet moment with a cup of tea while observing your surroundings. By cultivating this internal connection, you empower your brain to foster greater emotional well-being, clarity, and a profound sense of peace that permeates your entire day. So, what have you learned so far? As we've explored the profound impact of your morning habits on your brain's long-term health, what is one thing you plan to bring into practice in your own life? Is it delaying your digital engagement, choosing more positive morning inputs, prioritizing natural light, or cultivating a deeper sense of presence? Please, share your answer in the comments below. Your journey and your insights are valuable to this community. And if this article has resonated with you, I encourage you to share it with friends, family, or anyone who might benefit from this wisdom. Thank you for reading, and remember to nurture your brain, for it is the most precious asset you possess, guiding you through a life filled with health, connection, and joy.